Ross-Ade?
I get it. Zach, he was just here.
Your thoughts on Michigan? It's a short question for you.
Yeah, obviously we've had a tough time with them. They've obviously had some really good teams, and I think it starts with Hunter Dickinson and just that matchup. Just how good of a passer he is, and his basketball IQ, and his ability to rebound, just make winning plays. He's a really good player. Jett Howard, gives him someone that's just an elite shot maker. Doug McDaniel's done a really good job of taking over and using his speed and his quickness to break people down. He's made some big shots. Kobe Buffkin's really made a jump, this year. But, it's going to be a total team effort like anything else. We have to do a good job on the glass. We have to do a good job in transition. Obviously, those are staples that you have to do well in no matter who you play. But I think being on the road, we've had a lot of experience playing on the road. We just got to be able to continue to be sharp, continue to help ourselves, and just be aware of their personnel, know what guys can and can't do.
Your team's been pretty good on the road, obviously. Just any particular reason for that?
Well, we've been able to win some closer games, obviously, whether it's home or away or neutral. Sometimes it's making your free throws. Sometimes it's, making an offensive play. It's getting a stop, getting a rebound, just being able to make, those key plays at key times. But each day is a different day, and it's, this will be a different challenge for us. And I think we just have to do a good job of, not beating ourselves. I thought in the second half of our game other night, we were causing ourselves a lot of problems just because we couldn't take care of the basketball.
Dickinson's inside-outside game, how much of a challenge is that for your bigger front court?
Yeah, definitely. He was 6 for 9 from 3 last year against us, and now he's, going into the game, he's 10 for 25 on the season. So it's not high volume, but it seems to be high volume against us. So, there's no way that they're not talking about it and going back to it. We can't allow it to be the focal point of what goes on. It doesn't mean that they can't make a big play at a big time by knocking one of those threes down. In those games outside of the one that we won, they made a lot more plays than we did, and they played better than we did. And that's what we got to keep our focus on more than anything. But it's something that we're definitely concerned with because he's had success against us knocking down threes.
Did you feel like it was necessary to come out and talk about Zach getting fouled because he's getting held out of him every night? And,
yeah.
Maybe this was the right time to say, hey, this is happening and it needs to be watched.
Well, what's happening is he's getting away with some small things, but the magnitude of the fouls that are not getting called for him is 3-1. And so that, if you go back and watch film and you're honest about it and you don't have your blurred vision through your black and gold and you're just honest and you look at it we're getting the short end of the stick here. He's posting up and he's staying legal. They're grabbing jerseys and they're putting their knees up his backside, and it's tactics, especially when when you deal with somebody that is a good player like him. They're not going to do those tactics because they want to stay in the game. They're not fools, you know what I mean? But when they got subs coming in or backups coming in, and this is all of our games, those are the guys that are you can just see they're going to accumulate the fouls and they don't care, and they're just going to keep fouling. The egregious chucks, grabs, and all those things, they got to be called, and it's got to be called every time. And I think the officials don't want to call it every single time because on most scenarios, people aren't going to do that. But since he's such a tough cover, that's what keeps happening. So if you get officials that don't have that kind of discipline, now you're getting ugly. We had an elbow to the face in our last game, and then we had 2 hook and holds, and not one of those 3 incidents went to the monitor and got called. And if you go watch on film, you're why isn't this being called? And so that's what we want, and that's what I think any coach wants. You just want the egregious stuff, and sometimes calls are getting missed on both sides, and okay, that's part of it, but not the egregious stuff, not the obvious things that are going to be flagrant or are going to be going to the monitor and things like that. This can't lead to him getting hurt or somebody else getting hurt. This, it's starting to get a little bit out of control.
Do you feel like people are publicly lobbying?
Sure. When you hear those coaches lobbying and doing that, they are waving the flag that they can't guard him. And I equate it to when I used to complain about Yogi Ferrell carrying the basketball and double dribbling and doing all that. At the end of the day, Yogi Ferrell was really hard for us to guard. And, you know, when I reflect back on it, it's like it's a backhand compliment to him because he was so good with the basketball and he was so quick. Well, this is really when they're lobbying like that, this is a backhand compliment to Zach and how dominant he's been. But if you go and watch the film, it's the one thing you have to do as a coach. You got to be honest about it. Because the film, you always tell your players the film doesn't lie, but coaches got to be able to say the film doesn't lie, and so do the officials.
How much does what Hunter can do in offense, how much can you mitigate that by attacking him on the other end, pick and rolls?
Yeah, like I think that's anytime you play against a quality player like Hunter or they're playing against Zach, you want to make them be able to defend. Like you want to get him, whether that's low post or that's playing in ball screen stuff. You just want to make them and hold them accountable. So I think you'll see a lot of that in the chess match. You know, I think you'll see them really trying to put Zach in binds and us doing the same. But like I said earlier, it's no different. You know, everybody's always going to go after that guy, you know, who's as valuable as like Hunter or Zach, you know, because you should. You know, you should try to hold those guys accountable on the defensive end to try to take away a little bit of their offense.